uma coisa aí. Que eu já me chamou na igreja, eu pensei Oh, I've got the points on my desk. Cute. You're so pretty. Oh, it's my favorite. See, it sounds like a doctor. Oh, and I'm turning light up too.
Wow.
Wait. Is Rotem and Tova, do you have the same colors in you? Do you have same color? Do they have?
Same color.
No, like, okay.
Hello, Rabbi Majeski. What that big frog? Ah! What the block is a kaiser? A kaiser about show for this? Oi, allora. And I'm like, so she's probably not talking about that.
שיר זה מכוער. אני מוחקת את זה. תשמעי. אוי, הזום. Hello.
My friend probably knows her.
No, why are you erasing it?
It looks like a kid's
It
art.
looks like a dog wrote it on the board.
And then how'd she pay you?
She told her, like, you don't have to, it's mitzvah, and she like frowns at us. She's like, it's not, and I think she's gonna say Sivan. I'm like, no, it's a mitzvah to buy a book for another year. She says, no. So she digs in her wallet, and she takes $20, she sticks it in my sister's purse, and she starts to walk back, like, wait, come back.
What's her name?
Chassidus folks.
Like F-U-C-H-S?
Yeah.
I should ask my friend if she knows her.
Yeah.
I'm gonna text her.
What's the big? So.
Kristen, how has your days been? How's yesterday? Wow. That's good.
We're not going to go much. What's the name? Tomorrow. It's like that. No, push me away, no. No, push back. Hi, that's easy.
They're keeping me alive.
I call it Jew water. Jew water. Oh, it's blue. I love fraud.
Oh, you guys fit each other. Yeah, you're like sisters. That's correct.
My
Sisters.
okay, no problem. In all the languages, that exact position is
I'm just like, really, that's fine.
Today we have all what we want from the Abisher.
Rabbi Majeski.
Sorry, we got held up. Okay.
Oh, important business? Were you talking to Mashiach and telling him we're running? You can't give away all your secrets?
Publicize this thing.
What?
You can't publicize everything.
I know, I'm sorry. I'm
Next thing
sorry.
I know, it'll be on TikTok.
Oh,
Okay, let's see if he's working today.
you still haven't been on it 2 years later.
Thank you, Tova. Baruch atah Adonai Melech Shacham Yivori. I guess starting from tomorrow, if I want to drink water, I'll have to go myself.
I was just gonna say, what are you gonna do the entire summer?
Okay.
Tova, open it out.
Thank you.
Put water, hand the thing with water with a little voices, just have you sounded it. Like drop
Okay.
water.
I actually prepared the papers. I don't know where they disappeared, but I asked Ms. Yafi, maybe she'll find it. If you've noticed, if you had a chance to look around with the hair, you noticed that they're making a lot of buzz about today's day. I want to explain what that is. It's something which I don't think anyone ever thought of it that way, but the Rebbe revealed to us that today's day is a very powerful day, based on the fact that it's a date that's written in the Megillah. In general, in Chumash, in Tanakh, there are a lot of stories, a lot of things that happen. Hardly ever do you find a very precise date. There are just a few dates that are mentioned in all of the Chumash and all the Tanakh. So one of them is the 23rd of Sivan. And what happened on that day? This is when the miracle of Purim started to turn around. And Mordechai told the king what they should write, a message they should send out. The Jews have the right to protect themselves. In other words, Mordechai was telling Achashverosh what he should write. So you know how the Rebbe always explains, according to Chassidus, whatever happened once upon a time happens every year on that day, spiritually. And being that it says in the Medrash that every time it says in the Megillah the word Hamelech, literally it means Achashverosh, but on a deeper level, it's referring to the King of all kings, to Hashem. That means that on this day, Mordechai, which represents every Jew, has the power to tell the king what decrees he should decree on this day. That means we have the power to ask for Mashiach, first of all, and decree that Mashiach should come. And of course, on a personal level, it's an opportunity to ask for all the things that we want to ask for, that we need. So, obviously, this day must have been a special day all along, but something that only tzaddikim knew about. And the Rebbe shared this with us, so we should take advantage of it. That's one thing. Another thing I want to mention is today is also a very famous Hayom Yom. It's a Hayom Yom that all of us, every Hayom Yom is important, but this is something which is very much Nageya. I'm going to read to you what it says. You'll probably read it later. But it says, the Frierdiker Rebbe relates how his father went into Yechidus to his father, the Rebbe Marash, because every Rebbe was a chassid of their own father, the previous Rebbe. It was in the winter of Tov Reish Lamed Hey, which I guess is 18, depends what time, when in the winter it was, but if it generally Tov Reish Lamed Hey is 1875. And the Rebbe Marash told him the Yetzer Hara is called the Nefesh Bahamas. A behema means an animal. So he says he's not only such an animal. Usually people use the word behema, means someone who's not too smart. He's not always a behema. Sometimes he's a fox, and a fox is sly. In fact, the Gemara says he's the smartest and the slyest of the animals. And you need a lot of wisdom to recognize his scheming. Because very often the Yetzer Hara clothes himself in the garment as if he's a tzaddik, if he's very humble and he has good midas, but really he has other intentions. And then he writes that every person's nefesh bahamis is according to their personality. For example, some people, they have this burning desire to learn Chassidus, or burning desire to meditate into something very deep. And it could be that what they're doing is actually coming from the Yetzer Hara. How could there be such a desire? Because it's really preventing him, let's say, from davening in a proper way. So he decides he'll spend time learning more than spending time and energy into davening, which means even if a person has a burning desire for learning, it could be coming from the Yetzer Hara. It depends what the circumstances are. And at the end, he says, this is the rule. This is the golden rule. And remember this always. Anything that's going to help and enhance avodah in actuality, you know that anything that gets in the way, it's coming from the Yetzer Hara. Even if it's something amazing, even something good, but if it gets in the way and stops you from doing something positive that you're supposed to be doing, then you know this is the scheming of the Nefesh Bahamas. Rebbe Rashab, after relating this, he concluded, until then, I never knew there can be a frum Nefesh Bahamas. And I definitely didn't imagine there could be a Chassidus Nefesh Bahamas.
Till when?
What?
Till when? Like what happened?
What do you mean?
He said till then he didn't understand.
Until he went into Yechidus, when his father
yeah,
told
yeah.
him that.
Oh.
So in other words, if a person, for example, is very upset about their davening, their learning, their mitzvahs, and they get depressed about it, and they're really bothered by it, and they can't stop thinking about it, it appears also that this is the Nefesh Elokis, because I'm bothered about my ruchnius. But very often, this is Nefesh Bahamas, trying to bring me down, and tries to say it in a way that I shouldn't recognize that it's him, but it's really Nefesh Bahamas trying to bring me down, because we know that sadness or even an iota of depression only stops us from doing things. It doesn't encourage us and doesn't motivate us. Okay, so that's what today's day is all about. And today is the last day we're having this class, because tomorrow, meaning that we have graduation tonight, it'll be a little bit late. Hopefully there'll be Farbrengens after graduation. So we should have the liberty not to feel so limited, and to start a little bit later tomorrow, 10:30. So let's finish the last part of the mimer. And that is on page 10, in the middle of the page. And it's explaining the difference between tefillah and bracha. What? The numbers are on the bottom. So the first word on the line is ukemaimer. It's a little bit, not mamish in the middle, a little bit closer to the top, but a few lines from the middle, from the mamish to the center. So first he explained what is a bracha. Bracha means that you're below and you're asking and requesting that from above Hashem should send you a certain bracha. So Hashem should fulfill your request. That's what davening is, requesting, asking. Aval habracha, but when someone gives a bracha, for example, a tzaddik gives a bracha, hu hamshacham amayla lamata. This is bringing things down from amayla lamata. The one who brings it down, it has to be above it. Otherwise, how could he bring down something which is higher than him? It's not asking, you're actually doing it, sort of, you're bringing it down. If you bring it down, it means you're above it, you're superior, and you have the power to command whatever it is to go down. If you wouldn't be above it, how could it bring it down? This person is standing in a spiritual place which is higher than where this bracha is coming from. Al Kain, therefore, he can give the bracha. This is why the Kahanim say, Yivarecha Hashem v'yishmerecha. Yivarecha means Hashem should bless you. What does that mean? So Rashi says, Yivarecha b'banim, he should bless you to have children, u'b'mamin, and you should have money to be able to live comfortably. B'kavana tova, and to have the good intention, lahadrich banav u'bnei beisei b'adracha tova, to educate and to guide your children or all your family members in the proper way, which is learning Torah of Yerushalayim. You can give all the Torah in the world, but you also have to be very aware that they shouldn't be damaged from forces outside. The famous Yechidus, where a parent came to the Rebbe and poured their heart out, that they raised their child, they gave him everything, they taught him Torah and this and that. And now he's deviating from the path of Torah. They're very broken. And when the father described it to the Rebbe, he finished off saying, the saying goes that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So this is where my child is going. That reflects something about me, as if to say, that means I'm far from Yiddishkeit. That's why my child is going that direction. So the Rebbe's response was, it's true that the child doesn't fall far from the tree, that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, but when there's a very strong wind blowing, the apple does fall far from the tree. In other words, naturally, the apple falls near the tree. But when there's a wind, it's an outside force. It has nothing to do with the tree, nothing to do with the apple. Something else is blowing very strong. The apple will end up far from the tree. Basically, it means there are winds blowing outside, a lot of unfortunate things going on. And therefore, not only do we want a bracha that our children should be raised and they should get the right guidance, but we also want a bracha that they should be protected from forces out there that can do damage. And then we give another bracha, Yor Hashem panav elecha, Hashem should shine his face upon you. If you look at the grammar, the way these brachas are written, hakalu b'derech tzivu gzeiros, like a command. If you listen to the word, Yivarecha, Hashem should bless you. Who are you talking to? Talking to Hashem. And he's saying, Hashem should bless you. We're commanding. That's what it means. That because the Kahanim give a bracha, Shemam Shechadava, b'derech l'mayla l'mata. They bring things down, not by requesting, but more like by commanding. Like a superior who's telling the person that's under his level that he should do whatever he needs to do, whether it's superior in an army. Oh, you found it? Thank you so much. You found it in our, oh, you got it on the internet?
Our computer.
Oh, you found it in the computer.
Is that the whole thing?
That's what I'm looking for, yes, thank you.
There's something English on the other side.
Yeah, it's the translation, okay. If we have time, we'll go this, I'll give it out. So that's a bracha is like a command. This and this should happen. You know, in shul they make a mishaberach, right? You all know that when they read by the Torah. If you look at the words, it says, "Whoever blessed Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, he should bless." What do you, he should bless? Who are you talking to? But that's what a bracha is. It's sort of commanding, because when you give a bracha, that means it's someone who stands above, higher, and he can give it the bracha. So those are the kohanim, or tzaddikim. So really, in a certain way, koyach zeh nitten the matan Torah. This koyach was, no, I skipped the line. Kamei kain, just like it applies to bracha, it also applies to Torah. Kamei kain binyan Torah. Me'achash b'bchinis hamshacham ha'maylo lamata, re'itochlis ha'koyach v'yecholis lahamshich. The difference between Torah and Tefillah is asking Hashem. And mitzvahs, to a certain extent, is also the same thing. I make a vessel, I put on tefillin, I put up a mezuzah, I'm eating the matzah, and I'm asking Hashem that now that I have a vessel, I'm ready for Hashem to bring down a certain light. But Torah is mamayla lamata. It's as if I have the power to make it happen. I don't have to ask, I don't have to make vessels. Learning Torah makes it happen, brings it down. Where do we get the credit from that? Because we just finished saying it's only for tzaddikim, kohanim, not everybody. And so he says, koyach zeh, this koyach was given by matan Torah. When Hashem gave the Torah, he gave us the Torah, but he also provided each and every one of us with the koyach to bring down ourselves through learning Torah. This is the words which introduce Matan Torah. And Hashem spoke all these words, lamer. The chayra, tevas, lamer, the word lamer, miuteret, is extra. And we know that the Torah, every word is accountable. There's no words which are just random to make it sound nicer. Every word teaches us something. Why is the word lamer extra? It's everywhere in Chumash it says lamer. Now, the difference is, everywhere in Chumash it says lamer, it said Hashem spoke to Moshe. Lamer, that he should say it to the Yid. So why can't we say the same thing here? That I called Yisrael Shomas HaTorah B'Sinai Mipi HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Here, Moshe wasn't the only one receiving the Torah. All the Yidden were standing by Har Sinai. All the Yidden were hearing the Torah from Hashem. So what does Lamer mean if everybody was there? In fact, it says in the Medrash that if one of the 600,000 Yidden were missing, nobody would receive the Torah. So every single person was there. There was nothing missing, and nobody missing. So the word Lamer means the Deiris, for future generations. And it says even though even the future generations were there, the Neshamas were there. That all future generations, was given the Kayach, Shabalima Terasa, Yamshach Gila Lakus. That when they study Torah, they just by learning the words, saying the words of Torah and learning, they bring down godliness. In fact, this is the reason why the Torah was given in a desert. You would expect something which is like the biggest treasure in the world should be given in a setting which is like, wow. What did Hashem choose? A desert out of all places to give the Torah? So the answer is the Kesed Torah, Hefker L'Chorel. It says in Pirkei Avos there are a few crowns. There's a crown of Kahuna. That's not for everybody. Only Kohen Gadol, only a Kohen can become a Kohen Gadol and have that crown. There's a crown which is what? Crown of Torah. Wait, before I get to the crown of Torah. Crown of a good name is already a fourth crown. There's a crown of Malchus, crown of kingdom, royalty. That's given only for selected people that are meant to be kings, mainly the tribe of Yehuda. And then the crown of Torah is different. That's for everybody. And that's why it was given in the desert. Kidua, the Kesed Torah, Hefker L'Chol. Kesed Torah is like Hefker. The Kol Echad V'Echad Misrael B'Cholte L'Hamshach Gila L'Kus Adei Liman HaTorah Amanas Lasses. In other words, just like Begashmias, in a desert, no one can say, oh, this belongs to me. You can't walk here. This place belongs to everybody. And therefore, everybody has permission to be there, to walk there. So to Torah is given in a place that everyone has access to because this koyach everyone has. Rak, nevertheless, shesh hefer, there's still a difference between Yachid or Rabbim, between many and one person. The koyach Rabbim, Odif Yesa, when many people learn together, whatever it is that we can do, we have the koyach, but when many people learn together, it's even greater. And that's why it says that if 10 people are learning together, the Shekhinah is there. This is specifically Teres HaRabim, when people are learning together as a Rabbim, as a group. How do we know that even if one person learns Torah, there's also Shekhinah? Every place you will mention my name, I will come there, and I will bless you. That means that even one person brings down godliness. But when they stand together, it's much stronger. What does much stronger mean? So we explained in the beginning of the Maimer, much stronger means two things. One thing means that it's more revealed. And the other thing is not just only more revealed, but the level of Shekhinah, the level of godliness is coming from a higher place. Like he explained before by Yud Gimel Midas Rachman. It's not just it's more revealed. What's being drawn down is godliness from a place that's above the world. It's from Yud Gimel Midas Rachman, unlimited. So it's higher. So first of all, he's talking about the advantage of everybody, people learning together as a group. The main thing, even more than that, is learning Torah with another person. Just like there's tzedakah, like Gemilas Chasadim, begashmias, you give a person money, you give a person clothing, you give a person food, you give a person words of encouragement. There's also Gemilas Chasadim Benafshe, which means you give a person ruchnius, you teach him Torah, you encourage them to do mitzvahs. Through that, his mind and his heart become refined 1,000 times as much. It says in Gemara, that just like with tzedakah b'gashmis, people are concerned that if they give tzedakah, they'll have less for themselves. But actually, in the Torah it says that the Eibishter gives a bracha. Whoever gives tzedakah, not only that they're not going to lose because of that, on the contrary, they'll even have more bracha financially because they gave tzedakah. You might remember, those of you who are in the Pirkei class, that the word for giving in Hebrew is spelled nun, so nun. You can picture that. These are one of the words that you can read this word forwards, and you can read it backwards. Nun, sof, nun. What does it mean? It means that what you give will come back. You're not going to lose anything. That's also good enough. But it's even greater than that, that by giving you get even more brachas. So when it comes to tzedakah b'ruchnius, means the person, I have the time, the opportunity to use this time to learn myself, to grow myself spiritually. And instead, I take away the time that I could use for myself or my children, and I'm going to take the time to teach someone else Torah mitzvahs, which is typically what every shliach does. So it says in Gemara, when a person does that, his moyach and his heart become refined 1,000 times as much as it would be normally, which is, the Rebbe mentions this very often. Sometimes when it says in Gemara something like 1,000 times as much, it's like, it means a lot. It doesn't mean exactly 1,000 times as much. Or it means it in a figurative way. Or it means maybe in the future. Here, it actually means it literally. I think the Rebbe says the name of the Tzemach Tzedek. It means that, in other words, there's something which would normally take me 1,000 hours to figure out, I'll have a bracha that I'll be able to figure out in less time. So even though I'm giving of myself, I'm not going to lose out. Hashem will give me a bracha in the less time that I have for myself, that I'll be able to accomplish as much as if I would have had more time. And by doing that, you actually arouse the source of all brachas. So the reason to go out and teach others should be because of Ahavas Yisrael, because the Nasi Adair is telling you that's the Avodah that you need to do, because the Yid should care about another Yid. But the Nefesh Bahamas comes along and says, but I'm going to lose out. So we tell the Nefesh Bahamas, not only you're not going to lose, you're actually going to gain. The more you give, the more you get. And the reason is, if you give me this atera, mamshichim and give me this rachmim. I mean, sometimes people say, I did this, I did that, I don't see the results. But the reason why we don't see is because we just don't see. We don't see anything. That mushal, we use the mushal for something else. You use it for different things. But if you remember the mushal, which is found in one of the Maimarim of the Mittel Rebbe, about the couple that they were put into jail, and they're in a dungeon. Remember, the dungeon is a place where they have no contact with anybody. Even the guards, they don't see guards. They don't see people. It's just the two of them, husband and wife, in a dungeon. And anything that goes into the dungeon and anything that goes out of the dungeon goes through a window that opens up on top. A basket comes down, brings food or anything else they need. Anything that's garbage and waste that has to go out goes into the basket and goes out. And that's the way they've been living for years. And then they have children that were born in the dungeon. And the children grow up, and as they're getting a little bit older, they start having this, I know I'm repeating myself, but I want to bring out a different point than last time. They grow up older, and they're having a philosophical conversation. Who is giving us all these things? So one of the children say, who's giving all these things? The other one says, of course, the window. Can't you see? Every morning the window opens up and gives us everything. So, and to them, what else could it be? It's only the window. The parents are laughing. It's not the window. There are people there. They prepare the food. They buy the clothing. they get the drinks and they send it down. They take it away, they dump it. It's not the window. Window can't do anything. And they're saying to their parents, where do you get this from? We see every day with our own eyes that it's coming from the window. Okay, of course, it takes time for the parents to convince the children. But my question to you is, what is the distance? What is the distance between the way the children see the world and the way the parents know the world? The children know this room, a little dark room, 4 walls, a window, a basket that comes down, and as far as they're concerned, this is the universe. There's nothing else that exists. What does exist? What does exist? There's no way you can even describe it. There's a universe, there's planet Earth, there's thousands of stars, there's billions of stars, and there's all the planets. And in this Earth itself, there's millions and billions of different kinds of creations, and all the things that exist. It's all infinitely, infinitely, infinitely more than what these children imagine. So I guess we also have no clue what's going on behind the scenes. So when a person learns Torah, teaches Torah, and they say, I didn't say anything changed, anything happened, you have no idea what's going on up there and what was changed and what was moved around and what was done for my benefit and for my bracha that I'm benefiting from. So therefore, of course, sometimes you're zoich and you see with eyes, open eyes, a bracha that you got very clearly. And even if you don't see it, we believe Amunah Shleima that these are things that are happening, that because it is Gimas Rachman, this brings Hashpah Begashmi, B'Teva Nirva Nigla, B'Bonei Chayim Mezayin Revichim. Bonei means children, Chayim means life, and Mezayin Revichim means sustenance. As the Rebbe says many times, these 3 things, there are 3 categories that include all the brachas in a person's life. Bonei, Chayim, and Mezayin. And Revicha means we should have it in abundance. Some people think the words Abani means children, Chaya is life and health. Mizayin and Revicha means abundance in Parnasa. But the Rebbe says no, the Revicha goes on all 3. The blessing for the children should be in abundance. The blessing for life should be in abundance. And the blessing for sustenance should also be in abundance. So what would you say is the main thrust of this Maimon that can walk away with? The Rebbe, Sichos, Maimarim, everything is like, at the end of it is like, what's the bottom line? Practically, actually, what do we walk away with? What's the Poel Mamish, the actual practical result of learning such a Maimon?
To ask for Hashem and teach the whole.
It's there, but that's not the main thrust of the Maimon.
I did only the last letter.
The last one is bracha, Bonei Chayim Mezayin Revicha. Very good. Any suggestions?
Tefillah, the tefillah. You like to learn together.
Strike 2.
Wow.
What?
Maybe like to learn together as a whole, like a lot of people together and like spread it around.
Yeah.
Maybe more, maybe it was 6.
No, that's the main thrust of the Maimon. That's how it begins. Asara sheyoshvim v'iskim b'Torah. The main thrust of the Maimon is to learn together as a group. And it is nothing as strengthening as learning together as a group. Right now, it's a little bit easier. As you get older, Mr. Hashem, you have your own home and children and a lot of things going on. It gets a little bit harder to get out there and be part of a shir. But there's nothing as strengthening and nothing that brings as much bracha as learning with a group. It doesn't mean you can do it every single day. But for example, when I was growing up, we still met many older Chassidim who were in Russia in the underground and went through those difficult times. And they all said that what gave them the most strength was when they were able to get together. And to get together in Russia wasn't so simple, because if 3 people gathered together, they're already accused of planning a revolution. So if you get together a group, they had to do it underground, hiding and not make noise and sneak into the other person's house. But they made every effort to do that. And the reason is because that was the most strengthening. There's nothing as strengthening as people coming together. So that's why the Rebbe also constantly, this year is Hakel. So the Rebbe is telling us to make as much Hakels as we can. But even in years that are not Hakel, the Rebbe is constantly talking about gatherings and kinnusim and Farbrengens, because there's nothing that brings as much strength as doing things together as a group. Let me give this out. If you don't mind, pass it around. Thank you. So the pasuk in the Megillah says that on this day, the scribes of the king, Sefer HaMelech, they wrote everything that Mordechai commanded them to write. So the Rebbe explains that the king here refers to Hashem. So actually the quote from the Rebbe is we have the first star on the sheet. The Rebbe said this Tavshin Mem Gimel. And it's printed in the book of Farbrengens, the Svadius, Tavshin Mem Gimel. The Rebbe said on the 23rd of Sivan, every year, the scribes of the king, which king? Malka Shalem, the king of the universe, are called together. And what do they write? They write whatever Mordechai commands them to write to all the Yidden who are Am Mordechai, that they are commanded what to write. So that means that this day is a day that it's a day that it is conducive for us to make our requests and point out and ask Hashem what we need, and that it will be fulfilled. So, okay, this is the last formal class. I mean, there are a lot of special days that are coming up. One of them is, Chavches Sivan, which spoke about the day that the Rebbe and the Rebbetzin came to America. And following that is Gimel Tammuz. Gimel Tammuz is a day that is also a lot to learn about, a lot to understand. For some people, it's a lot of confusion. For some people, it's a lot of excitement. It's related. They connected to Geula. I'm hoping there'll be some time, whoever's still around, who can get together and learn about it, talk about it. Whoever's going to be here those days, and of course, after that comes Yud Beis Tammuz. Yud Beis Tammuz is the day the Frierdiker Rebbe was released from jail. That was that time period when the Frierdiker Rebbe was in Russia in 1927, with the rise of communism, was one of the most difficult times ever. And basically, it wasn't just the Russian communists, but it was also Jewish communists. In fact, to a certain extent, they were even more passionate than the Russian communists to uproot anything that's related to true Torah Yiddishkeit. And what happened was that they actually killed, they literally killed a lot of people who were in a position of leadership. So almost everybody and anybody that was in a position of leadership retreated. They went back into hiding, or they escaped Russia and they left. And the Frierdiker Rebbe actually did the opposite. He established a whole network underground of yeshivas, people that were responsible to teach children and get teachers to teach children, people that are responsible to build mikvahs, that women could use a mikvah, people that are responsible to shech, so people could have kosher meat, and all the things that a Jew needs to live with, but they couldn't do it out on the open. And of course, they began to realize that someone is behind this enormous. There are places where they write the details, how many hundreds of places all over Russia. They were, just like today, you have shluchim all over the world. The Frierdiker Rebbe had shluchim all over Russia that were doing all this underground. I remember once one of the older Chassidim was saying that he was involved in a certain project, and he said that he didn't even know what he's doing. They gave him a message, It's like a spy country. He had to give the message to someone else or bring money somewhere. He didn't know why they're sending money, where it's coming from. He just got the money, told to go to a certain place, give it over. In case they catch someone, they shouldn't be able to get more information out of that person. So, and who are these? Unfortunately, these were Yidden, and they were the ones who were, and they created this group of their own. And the Frierdiker Rebbe at that time had Mesiras Nefesh. Unfortunately, many Chassidim actually lost their lives in these operations. The Frierdiker Rebbe almost lost his life, as we know. That's what this is all about. And he went out of jail on Yud Beis Yud Gimel Tammuz. So today, that the Rebbe always points out that we're not just celebrating what happened then, but it's a day that on this day, we have to get the strength to say to ourselves, wow, if in those days, in those circumstances, it seemed to be, it was a matter of life and the opposite. And yet, the Chassidim had the strength and they had the courage and they were motivated to go underground and do things where they endanger their lives to do what the Rebbe asked them to do and to do the strength and Torah mitzvahs. How much more so now that you are living in the United States of America or any other free country, and you don't have to hide underground. Not only you don't have to hide, you can actually get your picture in the newspaper, and they'll give you a lot of credit for what you do, and you get a lot of honor for what you do. How much more so that we should be motivated to do all these things. And I think there's also a very strong message you can learn in the Rabbi Mashiach. Like people today are already kvetching. It's been so many years. The Rebbe said Mashiach is coming. It's going to be soon. I don't see it happening. Look outside. Look in the newspaper. Look at all the unfortunate things that are going on. And I think if a person would stop and think for a second, imagine if you were living in 1927, and you say to yourself, the Lubavitcher Rebbe is waging war against communist Russia. Communist Russia, what do they have? 200 million people. I'm not sure about the numbers of people. An enormous, a very powerful country. And these are a country that has an army and has all the ammunition in the world that they need, has all the power to do what they want as they did. They actually, we know that as a result of communism, 20 million people were killed. So the power that they had, what kind of power did Lubavitcher Chassidim have? And not only that, the leader of the whole movement gets arrested. If you'd have asked someone then, in those 30 days while he was in jail, what do you think will be the future of Lubavitch and what will be the future of the communist regime? I think you all know the answer. What do you see today? The communist regime is gone. It's not only weaker, smaller, it's non-existent. I mean, we have a leftover who's running, unfortunately, craziness in Russia, but the regime as a regime is gone, communism. And Lubavitch, what the Frierdiker Rebbe created, is growing and growing by leaps and by bounds. And the same with the Mashiach, that when Hashem gives a message to a tzaddik, we have to have emunah. And even if it looks difficult, nevertheless, to see that it's going to happen, we have to be strong in our emunah. In fact, that emunah is one of the main things that hastens the coming of Mashiach. So this is the time to go into all this, read this. There's a book where it's all translated in English. It's called The Prince in Prison. It's about the Frierdiker Rebbe's arrest and his release and all that. So tomorrow we'll still be here in school, Mirza Hashem, but we'll be having this class. I'll see you tonight in Mirza Hashem, everybody. It's not hard to make. It's very hard, I'm saying, to have the last class. But you're all welcome to come back and learn as much as you want. Okay. Hatzlacha Rabba, everybody. Don't ever stop learning Chassidus.
Can I borrow your hat again?
Yeah.
I'll take that as a yes. I was a good looking rabbi. I'll just tell you. The hat does make me realize sometimes.
Okay.
To be continued.
Thank you.
I just